We Predacons forbid you to watch this video if you are under the age of 13. That means you must click the box and exit the video. Yes. But if you continue to watch, it shall avail you not. No. For now the power gauntlet has been cast. Predacons, terrorize! Hey everyone, welcome back to Input, and in this review, you cast your vote. I tallied them up, and the winner was San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Nemesis Prime. Let's dig into him. Clean up on aisle 4. Well. Look who came up in the world. Looks like someone got a new review station.
Yeah, man, I really like it. What do you think about it?
I think King Poseidon did a hell of a job destroying your last set.
Okay, guys. Look, as you guys can tell, Nemesis is a bit of a dick, but, you know, it is what it is. Wouldn't expect a whole lot more from the guy. I mean, he is an evil Optimus Prime, and I've got to say, man, he is an evil-looking Optimus Prime. I mean, down to the T. This figure is done extremely well. The paint is done extremely well. There are a few homages here to, I guess, the original black Nemesis design, if you will, and I'll get to that here, get to all of them here in a second. But his robot mode is really glorious here. The dark navy blue coupled with the gray and the teal, very Nemesis Prime colors, but it just stands out so well. It's just done, like I said, it's done extremely well. The paint on the eyes, I would say, I wish they stood out a little bit more. They are supposed to be red, but they come off more of a purple color. It's kind of hard to tell. But basically what they did was they used the blue light piping plastic on the back of the head. And then what they did, they just painted the eyes red. And unfortunately, it gave it more of a purple effect, more of a purple hue than it did a red. And it's very hard to see his eyes underneath that. I really wish this was a red light piped piece instead of the blue, but the fact that they painted the eyes red and didn't leave them blue, to me is really cool. At the very least, you know, he does have his red eyes one way or the other. And the light piping, some people love it, some people don't. So, you know, it's up to you whether or not you guys feel like that's a bad thing or not. So he does have his Decepticon logo here on the side. It's painted, it's tampographed purple, and then it's got the teal paint. He does have one right here, which that is for his truck mode. So this does look a little odd, but what's weird is I really dig it. I don't know. I really like that dual Decepticon logo right there on both sides. The arms here, the arm kibble, if you will, is a blue plastic, and it's painted the blue, or it's painted the silver and the black with the teal headlights, or what would become the headlights right there, which I think is super cool. It's the same on both sides. He does have his own rifle, which this becomes his smokestacks in his alt mode, his truck mode, which is really cool. And there are differences between each one of the figures that share this mold with this gun, and I'll go over the differences here in a second, so that way if you guys are ever shopping for him, you guys know what to look for to make sure if he's complete or not. The silver right here really does a nice breakup of the dark navy blue, and then the knee pads right there. You got two display options with this guy. He can either have the knee pads up, knee pads down, but the official is up that way. Now, this section here is done in a clear blue plastic. Now, clear plastic does always worry me because over time it does get brittle. But this figure is roughly 10 years old, and each version of this figure that I have, each version of the mold, I should say, this entire section is made out of clear plastic, and none of mine have any cracks, any breakage, anything. So that's probably a good sign. Maybe they mixed this plastic, I don't know, maybe they mixed it better or stronger or something. I don't know. The truck mode tires, they are painted a dark, super dark bronze, maybe a super dark gold, if you will. But I really like how that comes out. It really clashes. It doesn't really clash too much against the black plastic or anything, and I love that. And then it just covers up the wheels like that. His wind vane right here on his back. The wind vane for the truck. Now, I think what's super cool is his knees are friction, but they're tight friction, and that's super cool. He does have some swivel here on the thigh. He does have friction in and out, and friction up and friction down and back. His elbows, I think, is super cool because I don't know if you guys can hear that, but they are ratcheted, so that's super neat. Arms up, down, and they do go all the way around. They aren't hindered by anything. You guys can get them a full 360 degrees around. Now, like I was going to say, real quick, I'll bring him in. So here's his gun, and it does become his smokestacks. Now, if you guys are ever looking at this, look at this little piece of plastic that holds it both sides together. Now, this might be a little bit hard to see because they did use all black plastic for this, but I do have multiple copies of this mold. So let me grab Optimus Prime's version gun real quick. So Optimus Prime's version is silver and with the black plastic and everything. So here's a good comparison. But as you can see, the plastic is the same plastic. Nemesis's Nemesis guns, if you will, are not painted silver, which that's a dead giveaway if you guys have them complete or not. But in case somebody, you know, stripped the silver off of this or something, a very easy way to tell is the plastic that's on the hinge itself. The Optimus Prime one will be red. The Nemesis will be black. The Ultra Magnus one is blue right here, this hinge. So it just, the hinge piece matches the main plastic color used for each one of these molds. So just something to be aware of. Like I said, if you guys are looking at buying this figure, if you guys want them complete, or if you guys are looking at, say, Ultra Magnus or Nemesis or Optimus or Jinrai or whichever one that you guys are looking at for this mold, this piece of plastic is a dead giveaway to know which one of these guns go with what figure. So yeah, there's the comparison right there of those two weapons. And his wind vane, I think, is super cool. So you can pop the wind vane off of the back, like so. And it can kind of become a shield-ish. Now, this was a gimmick with the Jinrai figure. Jinrai, the version of the mold that they made for Fire Guts Jinrai, uses this as a shield, okay? And he's supposed to be able to hold it as such, but I can't get him to hold it at all. So if you guys see any kind of pictures out there with them holding it, I mean, it's the same mold, right? I don't think it has any longer of a peg or any difference or anything. If you guys see any pictures out there with them holding their wind vane as a shield, I don't know how they do it, but I guess it is an option. Like I said, I just wanted to address that. But the wind vane does become a rifle. So you do transform it. It does flip down and over on both sides. And then the turret comes up, or the barrel, and then it's got a little piece. Now, mine is in there, always in there, extremely tight. Now, this is the only one I have issues with trying to get trying to get the barrel tip out of, but you do flip it out and it becomes this giant rifle for him to wield and hold. So, and that's super cool. And he does wield and hold both weapons perfectly fine. And real quick, to show you guys something that I think is super cool that you guys can do as a weapon, if you will, if you don't want your Nemesis, or any version of this mold, I should say, any version of this mold can do this. So, you put the wind vane on his back, you transform it back into the wind vane shield mode, and you undo the gun, just right in half, right? And then, what you do is, there's 2 holes on either side. There's a hole there and a hole there, and then there's a peg on the gun there and there. And what you do is you simply peg the hole, or you peg it in to the hole, and you can do that. And what's cool about that is it is on a bit of a pivot joint, I guess you can call it. So he can get these dual shoulder mounted cannon things for some awesome pew pew death at Autobot action. And it does swivel. So you do have multiple different, he can fire in different angles and just swivel it like a tank head, because this dude, let's be honest, is a tank. So there's that. Well, guys, I'll be right back to do a comparison between him and Ultra Magnus and the Optimus Prime version of this mold. Alright guys, now as you can see, I've got 3 versions of the mold here. There are, oh boy, a lot of this mold out there. There is also a Magnum Prime, there's also a Fire Gets Jinrai Prime as well, and not to mention the countless numbers of Optimus Prime versions that there are of this mold out there. But as you guys can see, the mold looks really, I like the way the mold is. I really do. I really do enjoy everything about the mold. I do. I think it's super awesome. So Optimus Prime here is basically what he looks like without anything, any weapons, anything like that. And Ultra Magnus here is what he looks like, kind of all armored up and everything. And then Nemesis Prime as well. Now, the one thing I didn't mention in the last part, well, I guess in the first section of this review, is that his windows here are supposed to be a red color. I think they left them blue as an homage to the Nucleon Quest Prime. So that's why I think they're blue, because Nucleon Quest Prime has a blue windshield. So I think that might be a bit of an homage to that. But yeah, so this is I believe this is the Henkei version of the Prime. I did find this at a flea market, so I'm not 100% sure. I just know the Henkei version has chrome on it, the chrome thighs and bumper and stuff, so I believe that's the Henkei one. This is the, what was it? The Toys R Us, I believe, 2-pack with Skywarp, Ultra Magnus, and then, like I said, the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Nemesis Prime. So let me just turn him around so you guys can get. And honestly, I don't think you guys can go wrong if you guys picked up at least one of this mold. The cheapest version, if you guys would want a version of the mold, the cheapest version of the mold would probably be the Optimus Prime, if you guys could find an Optimus Prime version of it, because they did do about 4 or 5 colors of Optimus Prime, actual Optimus Prime, in this mold. So yeah, if you guys wanted to get the mold, probably Optimus Prime here would be the cheapest way to go. So guys, I'll be right back with Nemesis's truck mode. We can discuss that, or take a look at it. Alright guys, and here we have his truck mode. Man, I gotta say, this thing is awesome, and it looks so wicked, just as it should. So there's that Decepticon logo that I mentioned earlier that lands on the inside of his forearm. So there it is right there on the side of his truck mode. And yeah, I mean, damn, it looks good. It looks really, really good. As I was saying earlier about the wheels, you can see they do kind of camouflage, but they are dark, so I think it matches the motif of the character. Yeah, just looks super, super wicked in this mode. I don't think, truthfully, they could have done anything to make this any better. It looks like an evil Optimus Prime. Now, the only complaint that I do have is that the way the smokestacks peg in, they end up pegging into these little holes back here. I do wish that maybe the peg holes were a little bit bigger. Not by much, but just a little bit. But there's, I say that, but there's not a whole lot of room on that section, or on that section of the toy for them to really make the holes bigger. So, I don't know. I mean, it is about I'd say maybe a 2mm, 1 or 2mm port. So if you go any bigger than that, you can't really, because you end up kind of destroying the sculpt right here on the side of what becomes the arms and everything. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a minor nitpick, but the smokestacks do stay in there just fine. The reason why I wish they were bigger is that, smaller pegs have a tendency to snap a lot faster than anything else. Also, when you're in truck mode, for the smokestacks, you do want to have the inside pieces folded in, so that way you do have clearance for the wind vane pegs right there, so they can poke out. So his truck mode does roll really well. The transformation is very G1 inspired. The arms fold back and then fold in, and then the arm kibble kind of twists and spins to become the side of the truck. Now, if you guys do get this figure, or a version, or a part, or any mold of the figure is what I'm trying to say, I do recommend at least getting the wind vane with it, because this is what you end up with if you don't. Looks very, very naked, very odd, and you do have the head poking straight up, looking straight at you. So the wind vane does cover up the head in the alt mode. So I do recommend, like I said, at least getting him with the wind vane gun, so that way it can cover up this. And yeah, because that just, even flat, I think if this other piece had an extra fold over, or maybe an extra design or something, some little bit more engineering for it to flip over and cover the head, I don't think that would be too bad. I kind of like that look with no wind vane and just the smokestacks. But as it stands right now, I do recommend getting it with the wind vane, because, like I said, it does look super, super awkward without it. His head just pokes straight up. So let's get Optimus Prime out of there, because this isn't about him. So the colors very much even come together very well in this mode as well. The silver doesn't break up anywhere. The silver just goes all the way through. It's very nice. The silver, I think, could have at least possibly come down across the figure, across the arms and everything, to continue that look. But truthfully, I don't mind that it stops. I really don't. The teal for, I guess what these would be, the running lights up top, and the teal for the headlights right here, very much does give the impression that this is Nemesis Prime. This is not Nucleon Quest Optimus Prime, as much as the blue windshield might suggest that. I think the coloring right here on the grill, I think if they were to paint this plastic, I would have suggested a dark gray for the grill, not necessarily this just standard gray plastic. But the gray plastic is super close to the silver coloring, so maybe this plastic, maybe this was initially supposed to be silver paint, the same color as the striping, because it is a very close color match. So I'm not too sure what they were going with for the grill look. But guys, I think he looks awesome. He does look really, really good. So yeah, I'll be right back, everyone, with final thoughts. Okay guys, final thoughts on this figure. Man, this mold, for as old as this mold is, this mold has aged so well. Even with the arm kibble, I don't mind the arm kibble at all. And that is, I think that is a very much a defining feature of this mold, is the arm kibble. There is a knockoff or oversized KO of this mold where the arm kibble can be pulled off. But there is absolutely nothing wrong with the mold, and like I said, it is aged extremely well. This mold now is, geez, this was an exclusive, I believe, to 2007 Comic-Con, so we're rounding the corner of almost 15 years that this mold is around, and it still holds up extremely, extremely well. I do recommend anyone picking the mold up, whether it's Nemesis, whether it's Genrai, whether it's Magna Prime, Ultra Magnus, whatever, Optimus Prime, I can honestly recommend the mold. Now, can I recommend Nemesis Prime here himself? I think this is a wonderful figure, and absolutely I can recommend this version of Nemesis Prime, because in my mind, Nemesis Prime is supposed to be very intimidating, very imposing, and this mold works extremely well for that look, for that presence of Nemesis Prime. This does look very imposing to me. Even with the arm kibble, it does bulk him out and make him look bigger. The giant rifle right here on the side, even the dual Decepticon logo on the arms. I think, truthfully, that this is arguably one of the best, if not the best, Generation 1 interpretation of Nemesis Prime. This is just wonderful, and definitely, I can definitely recommend this figure. There are two versions of this figure. There is like I said, I've been saying this is the SDCC version of the figure. There is a Japanese Henkei version of the figure. Prices for both figures tend to fluctuate, with the Henkei going for more sometimes and the Comic-Con one going for less, and then they swap. So whichever one that you guys can get your hands on, I definitely recommend it. As always, guys, I will see you next round. I love all you guys out there. Be kind, be safe, and until next video, cut it out. Later, guys.